A very good afternoon. Welcome to the Ambassador with me, Ambassador Susan Nganga. To our top story, the ongoing violence in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has led to devastating toll, with around 7,000 lives lost since January and 450,000 people left homeless. Prime Minister Judith Suminwa addressed the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, highlighting the catastrophic effects of the conflict, which has intensified as the M23 rebel group advances. Tuluka called for international action, urging the imposition of sanctions against those responsible for the escalating violence. Irene Juguna reports.
In the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, violence has reached catastrophic levels, claiming nearly 7,000 lives since January, according to Prime Minister Judith Suminwa Tuluka. Speaking at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, Tuluka painted a grim picture of the ongoing conflict, which has left 450,000 people homeless after the destruction of 90 displacement camps.
The destruction of more than 90 camps for internally displaced people, attacks on hospitals and humanitarian warehouses. According to the UN, more than 450,000 people are without shelter, food and water.
The conflict, fueled by the M23 group's aggressive advance, has led to widespread displacement, summary executions and severe human rights abuses. The rebels have not only captured strategic territories, but also valuable mineral deposits, escalating the stakes in the region. Tuluka has called on the international community to take stronger action, urging the imposition of decisive sanctions to curb the violence and hold perpetrators accountable.
We call on the international community to strengthen its humanitarian support, to provide resources to take care of thousands of wounded and displaced people, and to ensure that international humanitarian law is respected, as its principle is essential to save lives and ease the suffering of Congolese people.
As the government of the DRC faces increasing criticism over its handling of military strategies, particularly after losses in the North and South Kivu provinces, the situation remains dire. The international community now faces growing pressure to intervene in an effort to end the suffering and restore peace to the region. Reporting for GBS News, Irene Juguna.
The Suez Canal is seeing a return in traffic, with 47 ships rerouting from the Cape of Good Hope since early February. This shift comes as the Red Sea crisis, marked by ongoing attacks from Iran-backed Houthi militants on vessels since November 2023, has failed to provide a long-term alternative to the vital trade route. Despite disruption causing longer and more expensive detours around Africa, the Suez Canal Authority remains optimistic, noting positive signs of regional stability. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had previously estimated that disruptions to the canal could cost Egypt up to $7 billion in lost revenue in 2024. As the global shipping industry watches these shifting traffic patterns, the Suez Canal continues to play a critical role in global trade, with the crisis in the Red Sea highlighting its ongoing importance. In a controversial move, federal workers were faced with a midnight deadline to respond to an email from Elon Musk demanding they list their accomplishment or face termination. However, after backlash, Musk backtracked on social media. President Donald Trump supported the email, calling it great, while some government agencies told workers to ignore it, creating confusion and chaos. Irene Juguna brings us that report.
In a shocking move, President Donald Trump defended Elon Musk's controversial demand to over 2 million federal workers. In an email, employees were ordered to list 5 key accomplishments from the past week by 11:59 on Monday. Musk warned that failure to respond will be treated as resignation. But just hours before the deadline, Musk took to social media, backtracking on his stance, stating that workers will be given another chance subject to the president's discretion. Meanwhile, chaos unfolded as major organizations like the Department of Defense, FBI, and Department of National Intelligence urged their employees not to comply, alongside several aviation groups. Question remains, will this push for accountability backfire, or will it lead to real change? Reporting for GBS News, Irene Juguna.
DBS, Singapore's largest bank, announced it expects to cut 4,000 roles over the next 3 years as artificial intelligence takes over tasks currently performed by humans. The workforce reduction will primarily come through a natural attrition, with temporary and contract positions being phased out. The bank clarified that permanent staff will not be impacted, and it plans to create around 1,000 new AI-related jobs. DBS has been working on AI for over a decade and currently deploys over 800 AI models across 350 user cases, with an expected economic impact of over $1 billion in 2025. This move marks DBS one of the first major banks to reveal how AI will reshape its operation. While AI's growing influence raises concerns about its impact on global jobs, with the IMF forecasting it could affect nearly 40% of jobs worldwide, some experts believe it offers significant potential. The Bank of England's governor, Andrew Bailey, noted that AI could improve efficiency without leading to mass job destruction, though it could contribute to increased inequality. Thank you for staying with us. We have covered some important stories today, but there's more to come, including the Sudan crisis. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Are you all happy to see me? Yes, I'm also very happy to see you. We're going to make, ta-da, a banana milk package. Now we are done with the banana milk package.
There's nothing that can happen to a man, not unless God allows it to happen.
Do according to him, and he shall love him. He shall love them, and he shall take care of them. Because he says, those who love me, I will hold their hands till the end of time.
Invite someone to come to your house. One of the things that they cannot forget is the phone charge.
When it comes to relationships and probably communication, that distance is not a barrier.
Yeah.
But It is in communication, in effective communication.
So have you told your daughter how they acquire HIV and AIDS? When I go to speak in school, they will tell me, ukimwi ni mnyama mbaya. And no, sio mnyama. They have to know how it happens.
A man is not supposed to tell another man I love you.
Why? Which bro? Which bro?
No, like even okay, in a barrio, mtu amededi, tuseme muri wako amededi, usemagi nilikuwa nampenda, like no, I can't.
Huyu akikuja kutembelea, he's your friend, right?
Yeah, he's right.
Alikuja kutembelea ili mechill kwa nyumba afu masabaki zimefika. Unamzimikishana stage.
Kwani busy kumwendea stage.
Him through me. No, there is trouble in paradise. Because tell me why do of all the guys you want my guy to be your best friend?
For men, what happens is like wanakuhit na facts, like straight ni facts. Kama kwa hivi kama umeuma nje
Ukifika ile point yenyewe wewe na ndugu wako unaona kabisa hatuendi pale na msee, like unaona kabisa friendship inaenda.
Everywhere, GBS.
2 years later, Sudan's crisis continues to deepen as the country's two warring functions, the Rapid Support Forces, that is, the RSF, and the Sudanese Armed Forces, the ASAF, intensified their battle for control. In a historic turn, the RSF and its allies have signed a charter in Kenya, signaling their intent to form a parallel national government. This later development threatens to further fracture a nation already on the brink. Peres Kigo brings us that detailed report.
Medit and the Sudanese Armed Forces under General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has left Sudan in turmoil. What began as power struggle in April 2023 over the integration of Rapid Support Forces into the National Army has since spiraled into a full-scale civil war, displacing millions and pushing the countries to the edge of famine. In a controversial move, the Rapid Support Forces and allied political and armed groups gathered in Kenya, signing a charter to establish what they call a government of peace and unity. Among the signatories is Abdelaziz Al-Hilu, a powerful rebel leader who has long advocated for a secular Sudan. The document calls for a democratic, decentralized state with a unified army, but still allows armed groups to exist. The Sudanese government based in Port Sudan has dismissed the Rapid Support Forces actions as illegal and a threat to national unity. General Burhan has vowed to crush the paramilitary force and has announced plans to move a war cabinet to strengthen the army grip on the country. Meanwhile, Sudan has accused the United Arab Emirates of supporting the Rapid Support Forces, an allegation denied by Abu Dhabi. With no clear path to peace, the humanitarian crisis in Sudan is worsening. The United Nations warns that millions face severe food shortages, and international pressures is mounting for both sides to engage in negotiations. However, with both functions digging in, Sudan's future remains undefined.
To give us more insight on that story, we have our very own correspondent Peres Kigo, who has been covering stories in the Horn of Africa, but mostly in the Eastern Africa and larger Western and Southern Africa. Paris, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the bulletin.
Thank you,
Now,
Susan.
to begin this interview, how has the two militants impacted the current tensions in Sudan?
The escalating war in Sudan due to rivals between the Rapid Support Forces and Sudanese armed forces, it has led to humanitarian crisis. And before that, we can even try to look at the history. Where did this begin?
Yes.
And we want to look at who are these Rapid Support Forces,
exactly,
and why, and why are they causing this kind of violence? What happened? When we look at, we trace the Rapid Support Forces, they came from the Janjaweed group militants, and this Janjaweed is a group name used to describe a group fighters from the Darfur region. And this Janjaweed, when you look at this Janjaweed, they were used by the Omar Bashir. Omar Bashir used Janjaweed militant to suppress the people in Darfur region. And these Janjaweed people are known for their notorious act because they did a massacre in 2019 that actually was heavily condemned by the United Nations. So this Janjaweed, it doesn't have a good history at all. And this is why we can see the Rapid Support Forces want to continue this legacy. That's why we can see the conflict. And if we look at the rival between the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Armed Forces, after they ousted the Omar Bashir from the throne, they had some agreement. You know, Burhan, Abdel Fattah Burhan is the one who ousted the Omar Bashir. Then Hamdan Dagalo, the Hemedit, supported the coup. So they had some agreements, some promises. They had to share power. But it seemed that Hamdan Dagalo was outwitting the Sudan Armed Forces, who is called Abdel Fattah. So this led to some kind of rivals. These two government, the Hamdan Dagalo and the Abdel Fattah, they are competing for ambitions. They want to compete for military government control. They want to control the military in Sudan, and also these Rapid Support Forces want to continue the legacy. When you look at in 2010, these Rapid Support Forces was incorporated and structured to security forces. But now, as we can see, in April 23, the war have actually escalated because these two groups are not willing to negotiate. They are not willing to have a dialogue. And that's why we have seen recently they have come in Kenya to make that a political charter.
Okay. 2 years later, the war is still here. What is the humanitarian situation currently in Sudan, and how has it impacted the neighboring countries?
Okay, when you look at the humanitarian crisis now is worsening in Sudan because 12 million people have been displaced in Sudan, and 8.8 million people have been internally been displaced, and 3.5 million have fled to the neighboring countries like Sudan. And even as we're talking right now, some health facilities have already become operational.
Yes.
2/3 of operational facilities have become non-operational because the Rapid Support Forces have destroyed everything. They have destroyed everything in that country. So the Rapid Support Forces are continue to bring a humanitarian crisis in that country. And these people are creating actually a hard time to the neighboring country like Chad because you see the refugees are running to Chad to look for safety. And we can see Chad are using a lot of resources to give these people, to give them medical facilities. They're using a lot of money to take care of the children. So you see, it is creating hard time for Sudan. And also when you come to Egypt, it's also creating that, the Nile, the River Nile.
Yes.
The Egypt is also interested with the River Nile. So the Egypt are afraid that if this conflict continue, the water boundary or the water agreement may not come to fulfillment. So it is creating that tensions between Sudan and Egypt. Also the flow of goods from Egypt to Sudan is not going to be effective because when there is war, even the infrastructure are destroyed. There is no smooth flow of goods and services. The Rapid Support Forces are going to create a barrier that is not going to allow the flowing of goods and services from Egypt to Sudan. That's how it's creating a hard time to those neighboring countries.
And now a charter was signed in Nairobi.
Yes.
What entails that charter, Paris?
when you look at this charter, in fact, the first question we ask ourselves, why did the Rapid Support Forces come to make a parallel government in Nairobi? That is
Kenya,
a major.
exactly.
I mean, in Kenya,
Yes.
we know that Rapid Support Forces is a group which its credential is detained. You know, they don't have a good reputation at all. And the leader, Hamdan Dagalo, who is also called Hemedti, is wanted in war crime by the International Criminal Court. In fact, that take me to, you see the Omar Bashir. He was wanted in war crime by the International Criminal Court, and he was given arrest warrant. But even after he moved from, after his ouster, the International Criminal Court did not uphold him.
Yes.
You see, they did not. That even tells us that even International Criminal Court are kind of reluctant in executing their mandate. So when you look at the Rapid Support Forces who have come to sign this agreement here in Kenya, we have a lot of questions that is running in our mind.
Exactly, yeah.
You see?
Why choose Kenya out of all
Yeah,
the
why
countries?
choose Kenya
Yes.
out of all countries? And you see, it's the Rapid Support Forces. They did not come even with, maybe, if it was something that is looking a kind of peace,
Yes.
they could have come, the leader, Hamdan Dagalo, and the leader who is called Abdel Fattah Burhan. They could have come together here in Nairobi. But now it's only the Rapid Support Forces, and we know the history of the Rapid Support Forces.
Yes.
And when we look at this charter, the Rapid Support Forces, they say in this charter they want to form a peaceful government.
A parallel government.
A parallel government.
What does it mean by a parallel
This
government?
parallel government, they claim that it is, they want to, the Hamdan Dagalo want to leave this parallel government. He wants Sudan to be separate. In a way, he has a side of its own to rule. You see, he has a side of himself. So in this parallel government, Hamdan Dagalo is going to take control of it. And when you look at this charter, it says they want a secular, a democratic state. You see, a secular, when you look at the word secular, it's something that is not led by religion.
Yes.
It's not based with religion. The government that he wants to bring is not led by religion, but it is led by the civil principles. That's how we want it. And also, this charter is give them the authority to continue ruling until their fully integration into the security forces in Sudan. You see, so that is why they have this kind of charter, and they conducted in Nairobi.
But Sudan issued a statement against Kenya, telling them not to interfere with their sovereignty. Isn't it ironical they've come to sign a charter here?
You know,
yes.
You know, the Rapid Support Forces, you know, they are not siding with the Sudan Armed Forces. And you know, even we know as Africa, as we recognize the right government right now that is reigning there is the Sudan Armed Forces, which is led by Abdel Fattah, but not Hamdan Dagalo. We are not recognizing that, you see. So
we are recognizing like RSF as a rebel group.
Yeah, we are recognizing.
But why did the government of Kenya like allow the RSF to hold? It was a very high-profile meeting, in fact.
Yes.
Why did the government of Kenya allow RSF to hold a meeting here if they are a rebel group, if they're not recognizing RSF as a government group?
That is a big question even me I'm asking myself.
Yes.
And I want to go to detail to know why.
Because also our Prime Minister actually defended the action, said you're only looking out for other countries. Isn't that ironical?
Yeah, that's ironical. That's even take us to our government.
Yes.
They need even to check themselves. Our government need to, if we look, I'm not afraid to say because we see, recently we see the abduction that occurred in Kenya.
Yeah, for the Kizza Besigye.
Yeah, we see the abduction that actually have occurred in Kenya.
Yes.
And you know, President was silent about that. So
he's still silent.
Even now, he's still silent.
Yes.
So for me, it's not ironical because even the president should be an example to others.
Yes.
So when a president, the government of Kenya, or the president, in fact, let's not say Kenya, the president.
Yes.
If the president is the one bringing such kind of rebel in the country, that tells you a lot about the president who is leading Kenya, who he is. It's giving us the image of the president. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we go to the impact of the war.
Okay.
You talked about how the war is affecting Sudan itself, but how is the war affecting other countries? Like
Chad.
Yes, the Chad and the Egypt and the South Africa. How is it affecting it?
You know, this war is affecting Chad, as I said earlier, that, you know, Chad, Chad have been involved in negotiation of the Sudan issues. And also, Chad is also acting as a refuge, as a camp, to give safety and security to these Sudanese people who have no place to go. So this, it is bringing a heavy toll on Chad because Chad are using a lot of resources in taking care of these people. So due to that, it's making them to feel a burden. And also for security concerns, maybe we have maybe some Sudanese rebels who are following those people in Chad. And it may create a kind of security situation. It might threaten the country of Chad.
Are there any future, like, what is this called, diplomatic efforts that have been put in place that are currently ongoing, or any talks that are currently ongoing to stop this war in Sudan?
Actually, there have been that diplomatic efforts that have been going on, because we had, in 2020, we had that Juba Agreement.
Yes.
And that Juba Agreement was to bring peace between the RSF and the SAF. But nothing changed. Also, the African Union had called for a meeting. They had gathered to call for a ceasefire.
Yeah, I remember that meeting.
Yeah,
yes.
they had gathered to call for a ceasefire and negotiation and dialogue between these two armed groups.
Yes.
But no one is willing. The rapid support forces are not willing to have a negotiation. The Sudanese armed forces are not willing to have a negotiation they're not willing to come together and solve the issue, despite that effort that have been done by AU and the Juba Agreement.
So what is the main purpose of this war, Paris, from your own point of view? What is the main cause of this war? What is the main purpose? What do they want to achieve, the two militants? What do they want to achieve with this?
Okay, when you look at the rapid support forces, what they want to achieve, you know, in 2010, the rapid support forces were restructured and incorporated into the security army. And do you know, the intent of the rapid support, what they want to continue with the legacy of the Janjaweed, you know? So they want to achieve that legacy. They want to continue with it. And you know, in fact, I didn't tell you, when you look at the word Janjaweed, in Arabic word, it means devil's horseback. In fact, I was shocked when I was doing a research. It means devil's horseback. You know, when you look at the word devil, you know, it's not a good word to say. So they want to continue with Janjaweed legacy. So that means they will continue. Despite that they say that charter is a formation of a peaceful government, it is ironical because we know the atrocity that they have committed in Sudan.
Yes.
So when we try to see what they achieve, when we look at their claims that they want a peaceful government, it's so ironical. Looking at what they have done, the atrocity, the rape cases they have been accused of, in fact, not accused, they have already committed it.
Yes.
Yeah? So we wonder what kind of, they want to have, which government are they going to rule? Which people are the rapid support forces going to rule with the kind of reputation they have?
Yes.
Yeah? Their reputation is bad. So which kind of people are they going, even I wonder this kind of integration, how can they become security forces of Sudan with the reputation they have done? It can't be possible. That's a question, that's ironical to me.
Yes.
For me, I can say the Sudan Armed Force, that's what I recognize.
Yes.
At least that one, they have a goal to bring peace in Sudan. Those they have actually, they have achieved, they have a goal, they have said, you can support those. But when it comes to rapid support forces, the kind of peaceful government they say they want to put in Sudan is really ironical.
So for your parting shot, Paris,
okay.
Are we seeing a calm Sudan in the future?
With the situation right now,
yes,
I don't know what to say. I just leave that door open for now.
Can you advise Africa? Can you advise Africa on what to do for Sudan?
What to do on Sudan? No, actually, with all the effort that African countries have done in Sudan,
yes,
I don't know what to do. Maybe by the mercies of God, He stopped this war. Because the United Nations warned them, but things are still the way they are right now. The situation is still bad. So I don't think there's anyone who can advise the rapid support forces right now. Because what they have in mind is not really good.
Thank you so much for your time, Paris. Everyone, that was African In-Depth with our very own correspondent, Paris Kigo. Now we say goodbye, and that international news marks the end of our bulletin today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, same place, same time at 1 p.m. I have been your ambassador, Susan Nganga. Good afternoon.
Everywhere, GBS.